Grafton. I'm so sorry to have kept you waiting. I hope you haven't been too bored.
Oh, on the contrary, Lady Penelope. This room's proved most interesting to me.
Parker will be bringing tea in a moment. Now, you wanted to see me about giving you some money, I believe. What sort of charity do you run?
Oh, it's no charity, ma'am. It's a business. One of the biggest. Now, I'm head of a syndicate concerned with the building and running of the Pacific Atlantic Monorail Company. We have 500 miles of track already built, and the most fantastic monotrain ever designed.
Well, pardon my ignorance, Mr. Grafton, but what's so special about this monotrain?
It's completely automatic.
Oh, I see. It does sound all rather exciting. How much money do you need?
$40 million. But you're only one of the people we're approaching. We wouldn't expect that sort of dough to come from one person, of course.
Oh, of course. Tell me, what's in it for an investor?
A straight cut in the profits. You buy shares, you get the dividend, and the profits are gonna be high.
You seem very confident. Of course, I don't have a lot of money myself.
Oh, maybe not, Lady Penelope. Oh, but the pictures in this room alone would amount to a few $1,000,000.
Yes, I suppose they would.
Then there's, your jewel collection. That's internationally famous.
Thank you, Parker. Here will do nicely.
Would that be all, lady?
For now. Thank you, Parker. Now, to get back to business. You were saying, Mr. Grafton.
The scheme can't miss. It's a chance of a lifetime.
Well, I never finance business ventures, Mr. Grafton. I'm a mere woman. I don't know enough about these things. But I have a very good friend who might be interested.
Oh, you think he'll help?
It's possible. He's extremely interested in scientific development, and he's very wealthy.
Oh, Mr. Grafton, did she bite?
Not exactly, but she's gonna put some millionaire in touch with us.
Well, we came here to get dough out of her.
Don't worry, we will. In case the joint, fix the alarm to stop operating just when we want. And I know exactly where the safe is. Yeah, she'll pay up, whether she likes it or not. She just doesn't have any choice.
Go ahead, Penelope. What's up?
Well, nothing's up, Jeff, but I'm onto something that needs investigation.
Well, if it's something that anticipates a disaster and saves us a rescue operation in the future, we're all ears, Penny.
Well, I've had a Mr. Warren Grafton visit me. He's trying to raise money to complete his monotrain.
Hey, that must be Grafton of Pacific Atlantic.
Yeah. They've been having trouble with the U.S. government about safety precautions.
Penny, you say he needs money?
Yes, Jeff. So I said I thought a friend of mine would be interested.
Meaning me, I suppose. All right, Penny. I'm always on the lookout for interesting engineering investments anyway. Where can I get in touch with him?
He'll be returning to his New York office tomorrow.
I tell you, gentlemen, it's a cinch. The Pacific Atlantic Monorail Corporation is really gonna be in business. Now tell us about things at your end, Hugo.
Well, we're all set to make a killing at Monte Carlo. We should be able to clear up over $4 million at the casino.
That oil deal we just made in South America, that'll net $7 million, and the authorities won't even get near us.
Good. What about your side of the operation, Doolin?
Well, boss, the racks are going great, just great. I got all the big racetracks thrown up in my pocket, as you might say.
How much, Doolin? How much?
I guess you can count on $10 million.
$21 million. There's just 19 to go.
Which brings us to you, Grafton. How did you make out?
Well, gentlemen, I have just organized the greatest combined operation in the history of big business. Tomorrow night, Malloy and Selston will gain entry to the mansion of Lady Penelope Creighton Ward in England and walk out with one of the world's richest jewel collections.
Yeah, you set that one up real good.
Shut up. Don't interrupt, Mr. Grafton.
At the same time, here in the States, I shall be taking her ladyship's millionaire friend Jeff Tracy and his 2 advisors for a trip on a money train. Well, Tracy, what do you think of it?
This coach is certainly comfortable, Mr. Grafton. But tell me, why hasn't the government backed you?
I never asked them. I want guys like you to benefit. Private enterprise. That's what keeps this country on its feet.
It's a superb piece of engineering skill, Mr. Grafton. I just hope it's been thoroughly tested.
Sure it has. Some of the biggest men in the country are behind this project.
What sort of men are they?
Well, you understand, Tracy. They're modest men. Men like yourself trying to stay out of the limelight so they can get the job done without a lot of ballyhoo.
I'd have to know a lot more about the system, Mr. Grafton, and the people behind it.
I believe the train is automatically controlled. Completely. The whole track, from beginning to end, is controlled by automatic signals.
But isn't there a safety risk?
Risk? What are you talking about? Crossing the road's a risk.
Maybe, but that's not the attitude to take when people's lives are involved.
Look, a fleet of heli-jets is on constant patrol. If anything went wrong, they'd report it immediately.
Unless anything went wrong with the heli-jet.
Cool. Talk about psychic. Almost as Mr. Tracy spoke, ahead of them, a raging storm had caused a heli-jet to crash into a trestle bridge, carried the monorail across a deep ravine. The bridge was half demolished, and the automatic signal system put out of action. The monotrain was now in dead trouble.
304 to base. I've crashed. The monorail is going to collapse, and the train is on its way. It's got to be stopped.
So, you see, Tracy, in the standard coaches, we can pack in 500 people.
Pack in is right.
Well, you know, just a figure of speech.
Well, so far, I'm not over-impressed.
Impressed? You want to be impressed? Come on up front. See the power unit. That'll impress you.
Okay.
There it is. The greatest chunk of engineering genius in land travel history.
Well, it's big enough anyway.
Do you mind if we examine this piece of genius more closely?
Oh, help yourself, but I warn you. It's taken some of the best brains in the country to put that box of tricks together. I'm not begging you, Tracy, but you'll be a fool if you don't swing in with us.
I don't know. People aren't cattle.
That's where you're wrong. There's a few of us who lead, the rest follow like sheep. You say everything is completely automatic. The train carries no staff at all?
Don't need 'em. Just think of the money we're gonna save.
But in the case of an emergency.
An emergency? You worry too much. I keep telling you, Tracy, nothing can go wrong with the signals.
But how can you be certain of that?
Listen, we've spent enough money on safety devices. There's an element of risk in all operations at its type. I'll say that's the radio.
Excuse me.
Sure.
Now I'll be right back.
Don't hurry. Well, what do you think, Brains?
I'm not too happy, Mr. Tracy. There's too many loopholes.
I think you're right, Brains. Our friend Grafton is more interested in money than in people's lives. His type usually end up in one place. Jail.
Tracy, something's gone wrong. We're heading for trouble. And I mean trouble.
Where the Energy had crashed was now just a gaping hole, with a drop of at least 100 feet to the floor below, and still great chunks were falling off. A rescue Energy had just arrived, and was taking off the crashed pilot.
Thanks, Stan.
The whole section. It'll collapse any minute.
Stan, you think there's any hope for him?
If the signals are out, a train can't stop. There's no manual control.
What about it, Brains? Can you stop this thing?
Well, I don't see how. Without a circuit diagram.
Even with one, it's not certain we could succeed. How long do we have?
We're increasing speed all the time.
That's obvious, Grafton. When do we come to the damaged part of the track?
Well, I'm not sure. 15 minutes, maybe 20, maybe more. I just don't know.
Thanks. You're a great help. Brains, Tintin, I guess it's up to you.
At the home of Lady Penelope, it was night time. We were all asleep as two burglars began their caper.
Guess we made it, Selston. Those alarms have been knocked out good.
Grafton had done a good job of casing the joint, place. So they had no trouble locating the safe hidden in the floor of the lounge. What they didn't know was that as soon as the safe was opened, an emergency closed-circuit video alarm would operate in the bedrooms.
This is a place. Okay.
Oh, boy, that's some safe.
Okay, then. Let's get to work.
You know, it's gonna take some time to open up this baby.
Well, quit stalling and get on with it. Whatever you do, keep it quiet, huh?
You've got to stop it somehow. What's going to happen to us?
You should have thought of that before. They're doing all they can. Just keep calm. I'm going to call the boys.
It's too late.
I realize that. But if you fail, we might need help after the crash.
If we survive, how are you going to call them without Grafton knowing that we're international rescue?
Leave it to me. Say, Grafton, I wonder...
What, Tracy? Have you thought of something?
I don't know. Have you heard of international rescue?
Sure I have. But no one knows who runs the outfit. Where do they come from?
I can't say. But I believe to call them, you just send out a radio message.
Yeah, I heard that. Somehow they pick it up. Come on!
Keep at it, Brains. You're still our only hope.
Well, Tintin, here goes. Let's hope we've got it right.
Increasing speed.
I don't understand. What did we do wrong?
Don't know.
Calling international rescue. Calling international rescue.
Go ahead, John.
Scott, Dad, Brains, and Tintin are in trouble. That monotrain is heading for disaster.
Well, how? When?
The train's out of control and heading for a crash.
We'll never get there in time. Maybe, but we just can't sit here. Right. Come on.
Parker, are you awake? It appears we have visitors.
Yes, Mobilize. So I can see. They're all red below us.
Parker, they're going to take my jewels. We must stop them before it's too late.
I'm afraid we might already be too late. They've got a car standing by outside.
Well, it appears we have no choice in the matter.
I was just thinking the same thing, Flash. All right. I'll be happy to give you the hardware.
Okay, let's hit the road. Get down.
Hey, who's the Calamity Jane?
That's the Duchess, you dumb cluck. Come on.
Parker, get the tires. Good shooting, Parker.
We're approaching a bend. You've got to stop this thing. All right. This is our last chance.
Braves had made several attempts to stop the monotrain, but none had worked. But now, as he had one last go, the brakes locked on.
You're slowing up. You've done it, Brains.
Let's hope there's enough track left. We're still going too fast.
Oh, shut up.
They were still moving fast. The brakes were making a terrific noise as they gripped at the rail, trailing sparks and smoke behind them. With only yards to go, the monotrain came to a halt on the creaking remains of the bridge.
Oh, Mr. Tracy, we're safe.
Easy, Tintin. It's all over now.
Tracy, what's that?
Yes, it's the International Rescue guys.
Thunderbird 1 calling. You both are still in danger. The tower behind you is going to collapse at any moment.
Sure enough, behind them, the trestle bridge began to break up and fall into the ravine, leaving them stranded on the center span.
Make your way back to the center coach. Thunderbird 2 will be here any moment now.
Thunderbird 1 from Thunderbird 2.
Approaching danger zone.
Hurry it along, Virgil. There's not much time.
FAB.
Virgil brought Thunderbird 2 in low over the crumbling bridge.
Lowering crabs.
The downward thrust of Thunderbird 2's jets was making the bridge shudder violently.
Careful, Virgil.
Inside the monotrain, Grafton was terrified.
Say, what goes on? Are they trying to murder us or something?
Okay, Virgil. Close grabs. Pull away, Virgil.
God, that wasn't half a close shave. As Thunderbird 2 took the weight of the train, the movement started, the whole structure swayed, and then the whole lot just crumbled up like matchwood, leaving them dangling in space. Back at Lady Penelope's, the burglars had grasped on their mates, and their story had been radioed to the States. The American police had arrived just in time to see the rescue, and when Virgil had set the monotrain down, they arrested Grafton and took him off to stand trial. Mr. Tracy, Tintin and Brains were all okay, but I don't think Mr. Tracy could be persuaded that the monotrain was a safe investment after that there air-racing ride. Cheerio for now.
detective.
Oh, hi there. Just listen to this storm. It's another recording taken from the exciting Thunderbird Library of Rescues. The suspension bridge at Arlington was taking a terrific pounding from the storm, and high in one of the bridge towers, the controller's assistant was getting rather worried.
Some storm. Seems to be getting worse.
Well, the bridge can take it. Yes, Minister, I agree. Yes, but... Yes, I agree, but... Yes, very well. There'll be no delay. You can rest assured of that, Minister. I appreciate the situation. Arlington Bridge will be reopened as soon as we have checked there's no storm damage. Yes, I've got my men working on it now. Ah, there you are. Well, what'd you find out?
Well, all the readings were normal, but...
Just like all my instruments here said. Still think that spot check was worth it, eh?
That was a bad storm we had. It could have severely weakened the structure of the bridge.
It could have, but it didn't. I'm giving the orders for the bridge to be reopened. We've wasted enough time.
It had been calculated that the best position for an attempt to launch a space vehicle to Mars would be from England, and a special launch pad had been prepared quite close to Arlington, especially for that purpose. The rocket, though, had been assembled in the States and was now approaching the bridge on the final stage of its journey. Time was of the utmost importance, even as the rocket was being transported. Two space engineers were busily working inside the nose cone, putting the finishing touches to the radio equipment.
Great idea, this, sending us over to England with the ship. These tuning-up jobs would have taken another week. It wasn't done to give us a joyride. You know, if they don't meet this launching date, it'll be another 4 years before Mars is in the right position again. Yeah, I know. Well, that just about wraps it up. How about a cup of coffee? You know, I get a kind of funny feeling inside when I think about this baby. Just think, this rocket is all set to take off to Mars. All systems go. You know, it can take off. Just like that. What if something went wrong, Bill? Don't worry, nothing's gonna go wrong. You're not gonna get thrown into space. The countdown can't start until the rocket is upended into go position. Yeah, but all the same... Now, quit worrying, will you? You'll be back in San Diego with your wife and kids before they've even missed you.
As the enormous transporter vehicle moved slowly through the English countryside, the two engineers settled back in the takeoff couches to enjoy the rest of the ride. Meanwhile, Brains was following the progress on the video at the home of Lady Penelope.
These are the last stages of the long journey that has brought the Martian probe rocket ship all the way...
Is the picture satisfactory, Darcy?
Yeah. Thank you, Parker. Say, look, Lady Penelope. Get a load of that huge ship. Isn't it something?
I've given you quite a weak cup. Is that all right? Americans usually prefer it that way.
Thank you, Lady Penelope. Oh, gee, I sure bet Professor Wingrove and his boys are excited now that their project is nearing completion. It sure was nice of him to invite me over to England to watch the blast-off. Look, there's Professor Wingrove now.
I dare say most of you will have read in your newspapers in England that because of the present position of Mars, the firing has to take place from this side of the ocean. A launching of this size without the facilities of Cape Kennedy would cause a lot of problems. But we have solved the situation by making the space vehicle and the countdown completely automatic.
Now, that's enough of that for the time being. I feel I would be failing in my duties as hostess if I didn't tell you that in my home, everything stops for tea.
Yes, sir. Yes. We're already here for the rocket ship to cross. The bridge is closed to normal traffic. Yes, sir. The leading escort vehicles have just started across. Goodbye. And it would appear that everything is proceeding exactly to schedule.
Later that afternoon, Brains returned to the video to watch the final stages of the journey.
And this particular bridge was constructed 42 years ago as a link in the mighty north-south superhighway. The transporting of the Martian probe rocket has caused a temporary diversion. Through traffic today is being directed over the Hollis Bridge.
By now, the transporter had reached the approach road to the bridge and began the slow journey across.
The tonnage indicator is at maximum.
I had no idea the rocket was going to go as slow as this.
Never mind. It looks as if the bridge can take it.
But now, as the cavalcade reached the center span and began to move out over the swirling water below, the bridge began to tremble. Cracks began to appear in the roadway, small to begin with, but then, as it took the whole weight of the transporter and its giant cargo, they began to widen. Suddenly, the suspension cables, which held the weight of the bridge, began to snap like cotton.
Hey, what's going on? What in thunder was that?
She's not gonna make it.
Lady Penelope, the bridge, it's gonna collapse. Look, it's gonna collapse. The whole roadway was sagging to one side.
Come on. Come on. We're not gonna make it, Bill. We're not gonna make it.
The transporter began sliding toward the parapet. Then, with one final lurch, the whole of the center support structure seemed to explode, and the road, together with the transporter, plummeted down into the water, where the rocket sank immediately, ending up on the riverbed in an upright position, the bridge rubble almost covering it.
Bill, do you know what's happened? The automatic countdown started. The impact must have started the countdown. Can't anybody hear us? Come in, please. What are they doing up there? 3 hours gone already. No sign of any action. There must be something we can do in here to stop the takeoff. Not a thing, Frank. When the countdown starts, that's it. But couldn't we smash up some of the equipment or something? Yeah, we could, and the whole thing would probably explode.
This is Central Control. Can you hear me? This is Central Control. Can you hear me? Come in, please. Over.
They've got through, Bill. They've got through. Meanwhile, with the aid of Lady Penelope, Brains had gone down to the bridge to see if there was anything he could do to help.
Hi there. Do you think I can be of any help?
How did you get in here?
Never you mind how I got here. Now, what's the position?
The rocket's activated itself. It's going to blow up in just under 8 hours.
It isn't necessary for you to inform him of the position, Clayton.
Have you men attempted to call international rescue?
No, we have not called international rescue. It's a perfectly straightforward problem that we're capable of handling ourselves.
Do you mean to say this is all the equipment you've got?
And what's wrong with our equipment, may I ask?
Oh, this river dock stuff is antiquated. It's at least 100 years out of date.
Oh, an expert on rescue, are we?
Look, we haven't got time to argue. The fella's just trying to help.
Yes, I suppose so, but we don't need any help from him or anyone else.
Well, listen, I think you do, and I'm not going to sit by and...
So that's it. You're a troublemaker, huh? Clayton, keep an eye on this fella. We can't have him running all over the site, sticking his nose in. Don't try and interfere with things you know nothing about.
I'm sorry. Don't blame him too much. He's sort of upset and worried at the moment. Yeah, I understand. Now, do us a favor. Try and keep out of sight.
Oh yeah, sure. But he just had to do something. Luckily, he had his two-way wrist video with him.
International Rescue. This is Brains at Allington Suspension Bridge, England.
This is John Tracy at International Rescue Satellite. Is that you, Brains? What's up?
Listen to me, John, and listen to me carefully. I've got a job for you.
I'm all ears, Brains. What are you whispering for?
Well, the thing is, I'm over here at the bridge in Allington, and there's a rocket which is right under the sea, and it could be that there's a very dangerous situation building up here.
What on earth's he up to now?
I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. He's talking into his watch.
Yeah, I knew it all along. The man's a nut. Yeah, okay, Brains. I get the picture. Thunderbirds 1 and 4 required. Stand by.
There's only 7 hours before the rocket blasts off, Father.
Okay, John. Tell Brains we'll be there as soon as we can. We've been waiting for some action.
Right, Dad. Over and out.
Carry on, Scott.
Yes, sir.
Thunderbird 1 had blasted off by the time Virgil and I had selected the equipment that we might need on this rescue. With this aboard, we were on our way. Back at the bridge, one of the floating cranes from Allington docks had capsized in a lifting attempt. But luckily, the crew all managed to get clear. It was then that International Rescue made their appearance. Scott set Thunderbird 1 down close to central control, and Virgil brought Thunderbird 2 low in over the estuary and dropped Pod 4 into the water, where I quickly launched Thunderbird 4 and made my way to the bridge.
Gordon, I can't talk any louder, so please listen carefully. What's it like down there?
Oh, Brains, you old son of a gun. Keep tuned in. I'll give you the full rundown.
Yeah? Yeah, sure. I get you. I see. Yeah.
You'd think they'd have the decency to advise me of their plans.
I see.
What's the matter?
Okay. Yeah, and Gert is up there.
That poor chap's talking to his watch again.
That ought to do it. Yeah.
Say, I don't suppose,
It'll be more manageable that
I don't suppose he might have escaped from somewhere, huh?
And then, Thunderbird 2 can lift it in sections.
All right, Brains. I'll try it, but it's gonna take some time. You'll have to give me about 20 minutes, Scott.
The plan was for me to use the laser beam cutters in the nose of Thunderbird 4 to burn through the mass of twisted metal that surrounded the nose cone. Then Virgil would be able to bring in Thunderbird 2 and shift some of the wreckage.
Okay, Scott. Clear for Virgil.
Thanks, Gordon. Thunderbird 2. It's all yours.
At Scott's command, Virgil proceeded to lower the enormous steel jaws of the lifting grab down into the water and began the task of lifting the debris from around the stricken craft, all the time aware that the time was running out for those poor guys inside. Virgil made trip after trip from the site, dumping rubble well away from the bridge, whilst I directed the operation from underwater. Brains, still in the control room, followed progress on his wrist video.
Gordon, is the nose cone clear yet?
No. And there's only 15 minutes left. We'll never make it in time.
Now, look, this may sound crazy, Gordon, but this is what I want you to do.
You've got to get that nose cone clear by firing the missiles.
He's still at it, poor fella. Seems to be under some delusion that he's in charge of the rescue.
We're desperate enough even to listen to him.
Yes, but he's just suggested they should fire missiles.
Hey, what are they trying to do? Blow us to pieces?
They needn't bother. Look at the time now.
Is the debris clear yet, Gordon?
Is it clear?
It's okay, Brains! She's clear!
It's gone quiet again.
They won't give up until the end. They're planning something.
The only thing to do in the time left was to try and jolt the nose cone clear, using the hydraulic rams on Thunderbird 4. It worked. Slowly, the nose cone rose to the surface.
They've done it! They've got the nose cone clear!
Well done, Gordon. It's all yours, Virgil.
But it wasn't over yet. There was still that rocket, ticking the last seconds away below water. Virgil hurriedly lowered the magnetic clamps in place of the grab which he'd now jettisoned, and hovering over the water, picked up the nose cone and carried it and its passengers to safety.
Hey, Bill, we're airborne. We're clear of the river.
Yeah, with half a minute to spare.
Just in time. With a great roar, a huge column of smoke, steam, and water shot skywards. The giant rocket climbed unsteadily into the sky and hung there for a second. That must have been one of the closest escapes yet. The two space engineers Sure, we're glad to be released from that capsule. A little shaken up, but nothing that a few days' holiday wouldn't cure. But it's a pity that the Mars shot couldn't take place. One good thing did come out of it, though. They proved that the automatic countdown device works, even underwater. Goodbye now. See you soon.